The great chamber of the Galactic Council had never been so loud. Representatives from 400 species filled the massive hall, their voices mixing into a wave of confusion and anger. At the center of it all stood Ambassador, his crystalline body glowing bright red with frustration. "They refuse to answer," announced to the assembly. "I have sent 17 messages to Earth. 17. Every single one has been ignored." A low rumble of shock spread through the chamber. In the Council's 10,000-year history, no species had ever ignored their communications. It simply did not happen. "Perhaps their systems are damaged," suggested a delegate from the water worlds. "They are a young species. Maybe they do not understand our protocols." Glow turned purple, the color of disagreement. "No, their systems work perfectly. We received an automated response. It said, and I quote, 'Request, proceed at your own risk.'" The chamber exploded with noise again. Species shouted over each other. Some demanded immediate military action. Others called for patience. The council leader, Ancient N, raised his 6 arms for silence. "We must understand what has happened," and said, his voice steady despite his age. "Show us the human movements." A massive holographic display lit up the center of the chamber. It showed the galaxy with all the established territories marked in different colors. Then red dots began to appear, spreading across several sectors. Each dot represented a human ship or colony. "They entered the forbidden sectors 3 weeks ago," explained. "These zones have been restricted for 2,000 years. Every species knows this. The humans were informed when they joined galactic civilization 5 years ago." "How many ships?" N asked. "At least 40 colony vessels, maybe more. They move through space in ways we do not fully understand. They appear in locations where we detect no jump signatures." Far from the council chamber, Captain stood on the bridge of the Defiant Dawn. His ship was massive, carrying 10,000 colonists and enough supplies to build an entire city. Around him, his crew worked quietly at their stations, monitoring dozens of screens and readouts. "Sir, we're receiving another transmission from the Council fleet," his communications officer reported. "They're demanding we stop and submit to inspection." Did not even look up from his tactical display. "Ignore it." "Sir, they're saying if we don't respond, they'll consider it an act of aggression." Now looked up. He smiled, but it was not a friendly expression. "Send them our standard message." The officer nodded and pressed several buttons. Across all frequencies, a simple message broadcast. "These stars belong to no one. We are taking what we need." The Council envoy fleet, 12 gleaming ships arranged in a perfect formation, received the message. Their commander stared at the screen in disbelief. In his 300 years of service, he had never encountered such direct defiance. "Should we open fire, Commander?" his weapons officer asked. The commander hesitated. The Council had rules about engaging new species. There were protocols, procedures, proper channels, but the humans were not following any rules at all. "No," he finally decided. "Fall back and report to the Council. Let them decide." On Earth, in a secure bunker beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral sat at a large conference table. Around her were the most powerful people in the unified Earth government. Holographic displays covered the walls, showing human ships spreading across the galaxy like seeds in the wind. "The Council is losing patience," said General Park, his weathered face serious. "Their envoy fleets are multiplying. Soon they will do more than just watch." Director head of the unified government leaned back in his chair. He was young for such a position, only 42, but his eyes were hard. "Let them lose patience. What will they do? They have not fought a real war in centuries." "They have numbers," Admiral pointed out. "Thousands of ships, hundreds of species. We have been in space for less than a century. And in that time, we have built more ships than any species has built in their first 1,000 years," countered. "We have colonized 40 systems. We have developed technologies they said were impossible. Numbers are not everything. The Council offers stability, said Ambassador Lee, the last human to attend Council sessions. Trade networks, protection, shared knowledge. Why throw that away? Stood up and walked to the main display. It showed the Galactic Council's territory, a vast swath of the galaxy painted in official colors, organized, controlled, stagnant. Look at this, said, pointing. 10,000 years they have ruled, 10,000 years, and what have they accomplished? They have created laws that protect the powerful. They have divided the galaxy into territories that benefit the species who joined first. They move slowly, debate endlessly, and achieve nothing. He turned to face the others. We have a choice. We can beg for their permission every time we want to explore a new star. We can wait decades for them to approve our colony requests. We can let them tell us where we can go and what we can do, or we can simply ignore them and do what we want. That could mean war, General Park said quietly. Maybe, agreed, but I think it will mean freedom. The Council is not ready for a species that does not need them. They do not know what to do with us. Back on the Council floor, the debate continued. Ambassador had been arguing for 2 hours, and he was exhausted. We must establish consequences, he insisted. If we let the humans do as they please, others will follow. The entire structure of galactic civilization will collapse. Or perhaps it will evolve, said a quiet voice from the back. It was Delegate Quinn from the Scholarly Worlds. The Council was created to prevent chaos, but what if our strict control has become chaos itself? What if the humans are right to ignore us? The chamber went silent. No one had dared say such things before. Anne's expression was unreadable. We will vote on sanctions against humanity. All in favor of economic restrictions, raise your appendages. The vote was close, but it passed. Earth would be cut off from all Council trade networks. No species would be permitted to do business with humans. When the results were transmitted to Earth, Director read them and laughed. They truly do not understand us at all, he said to Admiral. We do not need their trade. We never did. He composed a response, the first official communication Earth had sent to the Council in weeks. It was simple, acknowledged. No apology, no negotiation, no fear. In the Council chamber, when they received Earth's response, the panic truly began. Ambassador stared at the single word on his screen. Around him, delegates whispered frantically to each other. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Galactic Council had no idea what to do. Humanity had rejected their authority completely. And worse, humanity did not seem to care about the consequences. The galaxy was about to change, whether the Council was ready or not. Fleet Commander watched his tactical display with satisfaction. 600 warships surrounded human-controlled space in a perfect net. Every known jump point was covered. Every possible exit route had at least 3 patrol groups watching it. Nothing could get in or out without his permission. They will negotiate now, told his officers. Humans need resources. They need trade. In 2 months, maybe 3, they will beg us to talk. His second-in-command was not so certain. Sir, the humans are unpredictable. What if they try to fight through the blockade? Laughed a deep rumbling sound. With what? They have maybe 200 ships total. We have 600 just in this blockade fleet. The entire Council Navy has 10,000 vessels. No, they will not fight. They will negotiate. But on Mars, in a laboratory buried under the red dust, Engineer was making sure the humans would do neither. She stood in front of a massive engine, so knew that frost still covered its metal surface. Around her, dozens of technicians ran final tests. Numbers scrolled across screens faster than most people could read. "Are we ready?" asked her lead assistant. "The calculations check out," the assistant replied. "But this is still theoretical. We have never tested a jump drive like this." "The Council's drives use mapped space lanes," said, running her hand along the engine's smooth surface. They jump from point A to point B along established routes. That is why they are so easy to blockade. They only watch the standard routes. She smiled. But our drive does not care about routes. We punch through space wherever we want. They cannot blockade what they cannot predict. If it works, the assistant said nervously. It will work, said with confidence. Start the countdown. Far above Mars, a small cargo ship waited in orbit. It was old, nothing special, the kind of vessel no one would notice. But hidden inside was new drive. The countdown reached 0, the ship vanished. On its flagship, alarms immediately started blaring. Sir, we detected a jump signature inside the blockade perimeter. Impossible, said. Nothing can jump from inside the blockade. We control all the jump gates. The signature did not come from a gate, sir. It came from open space, and it was not heading toward any known jump point. Before could respond, more alarms sounded. Multiple jump signatures. 3 ships just appeared outside the blockade. They came from inside human space, but they did not use any of the watched routes. Stared at his display. The humans had just moved 3 ships through his perfect blockade without using a single gate or known jump point. It should have been impossible. Where did they go? He demanded. Unknown, sir. They jumped again immediately after appearing. We lost them. On Earth, Director received the news with a thin smile. Has done it. Tell her to begin mass production. I want 1,000 ships equipped with the new drives within 6 months. Trader was one of the first independent merchants to use the new drive. His ship, the Lucky Fortune, was small and fast, perfect for moving supplies between human colonies. Before the blockade, he had been making regular runs to Council space, trading human goods for alien technology. Now with the blockade in place, the Council expected all trade to stop. They were wrong. Approached a Council patrol group openly, not trying to hide. His ship's transponder broadcast his identity clearly. He was carrying medical supplies to a human colony in the Arcturus sector. Vessel Lucky Fortune, you are ordered to stop and submit to inspection, the patrol leader commanded. Opened a communication channel. I am carrying medicine. People are sick. I cannot stop. You will stop, or we will disable your ship. Sighed, I warned you. He activated the new drive. The Lucky Fortune vanished, reappeared 3,000 kilometers away, vanished again, then appeared once more in a completely different direction. The 3 random jumps happened in less than 5 seconds. The patrol ships tried to follow, but their conventional drives needed time to calculate jump coordinates. By the time they were ready to pursue, was gone. This happened 17 more times over the next week. Different traders, different patrol groups, same result. The Council's blockade was failing. On the Council floor, Ambassador stood before the Assembly, his crystalline form flickering with frustration. The blockade is not working. The humans have developed a jump technology we do not understand. They can appear anywhere, anytime. Then we must learn how they do it, and said. Send a diplomatic mission, ask them to share the technology. His glow turned dark blue, the color of despair. We have tried. The human embassy is empty. They recalled all their ambassadors 3 weeks ago. The only thing in the embassy is a holographic message. What does it say? It says, humanity is no longer accepting diplomatic communications. The assembly erupted in confusion. Several delegates demanded military action. Others suggested economic pressure. A few, very quietly, suggested that maybe the Council should just leave the humans alone. But most wanted to maintain control, and they voted to strengthen the blockade. Received orders to increase his fleet to 1,000 ships. It made no difference. Human mining ships appeared in 17 different sectors over the next month. They extracted rare minerals from asteroids that the Council had marked as reserves. They built automated platforms around gas giants. They harvested ice from comets in restricted zones. Every time Council ships arrived to stop them, the humans simply vanished and appeared somewhere else. Commander Sara watched it all from Luna Station, Earth's moon base. She was in charge of training the new combat pilots, and she found the Council's confusion amusing. They fight like chess players, she told her students. Everything is organized, everything follows patterns. They expect their enemies to do the same. She pulled up footage of a recent encounter. A Council patrol had cornered a human mining vessel. 3 Council ships against 1 human ship. The Council ships had moved into a perfect triangular formation, cutting off all escape routes. The human ship had activated its drive and jumped straight up, perpendicular to the plane of engagement. The Council ships could not follow quickly enough. By the time they reoriented, the human was gone. "We do not play chess," Sora said to her students. "We play chaos. We do what they do not expect. That is how we win." Back on his flagship, read the latest reports with growing anger. His fleet had intercepted 0 human ships in 3 weeks. 0. His perfect blockade was a complete failure. "Perhaps we should ask for reinforcements," his second-in-command suggested carefully. "We have 1,000 ships," roared. "How many more do we need?" "The problem is not numbers, sir. The problem is technology. The humans can move in ways we cannot predict." Knew his officer was right, but he refused to admit it. The Council had ruled space for 10,000 years. They had the best technology, the most experience, the greatest ships. A species that had been in space for less than a century should not be able to outmaneuver them. But they were. On Earth, Admiral met with her senior staff. "The blockade is broken. The Council knows it even if they will not admit it. What is our next move?" "We keep expanding," said General Park. "Every day we delay, they recover. Every day we wait, they adapt. We must move faster than they can respond." Director entered the room, bringing news. "The Council has issued a formal ultimatum. We must cease all unauthorized expansion within 30 days, or they will take military action." "Do we respond?" asked. Smiled coldly. "No, we ignore it, just like we have ignored everything else they have sent us." "They will attack," General Park said. "Yes," agreed. "They will, and when they do, we will show them exactly why they should have left us alone." Across the galaxy, on hundreds of Council worlds, citizens watched the news with growing unease. The humans were defying the Council openly, and the Council seemed powerless to stop them. Some species began to wonder, if the humans can ignore the Council, why cannot we? The cracks in 10,000 years of control were beginning to show. The ultimatum arrived on every human communication channel simultaneously. It was impossible to ignore, even though Earth planned to do exactly that. "To the government of Earth and all human colonies," the message began. "You have 30 standard cycles to cease all unauthorized expansion. You will withdraw from the forbidden sectors. You will submit to Council authority. You will attend a diplomatic summit to discuss terms of compliance. Failure to comply will result in military action. This is your final warning." On Luna Station, Commander Sara read the message while eating breakfast. She laughed so hard she nearly choked on her coffee. "Final warning," she said to her second officer. "Do they really think threats will work?" "Maybe they believe we are afraid of them," the officer suggested. Sora pulled up training schedules on her tablet. 200 new combat pilots would graduate next week. They had been training in tactics the Council had never seen: guerrilla warfare, hit-and-run attacks, asymmetric engagement patterns, controlled chaos. "Let them believe what they want," Sora said. "We will show them the truth soon enough." She sent a response to the Council ultimatum. It was blank. No words, no acknowledgement, just an empty transmission confirming that the message had been received. In the Council chamber, Ambassador read Earth's response, or lack of response, with disbelief. "They mock us," he said to N. "They send us nothing, not even an insult, just nothing." And was old enough to remember when the council actually meant something, when species respected their authority without question. But that was long ago, before bureaucracy had strangled all action, before committees replaced decisions. "Perhaps we deserve to be mocked," and said quietly. His crystalline body flashed red with shock. "Elder, you cannot mean that." "Look at us," and gestured at the chamber. "We issue ultimatums we cannot enforce. We make threats we do not want to follow through on. We hope that reputation alone will make them obey. But the humans do not care about our reputation." "Then we must make them care," insisted. "We must show strength." And nodded slowly. "Yes, I fear you are right." On Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, scientists unveiled his latest project to a group of military observers. The laboratory was cold, as all of Europa's facilities were, but the air hummed with energy. "Allow me to introduce the Hunter drone," said, gesturing to a sleek machine hovering in the center of the room. The drone was small, no bigger than a ground car. It had no obvious weapons, no visible propulsion system. It simply floated, silent and still. "It does not look impressive," General Park observed. "Watch," said with a smile. He activated a training program. Holographic enemy ships appeared around the drone, moving in standard council attack formations. The drone analyzed them for 3 seconds. Then it moved. It was faster than anything the observers had seen. It dodged simulated weapons fire by impossible margins. It positioned itself perfectly to attack weak points in the enemy formation. Most impressive, it learned as it fought. By the end of the simulation, it was predicting enemy movements before they happened. "The Council restricts artificial intelligence development," explained. "Ancient treaties from some war nobody remembers, but we have no such restrictions. This drone learns, it adapts, it thinks." "How many can you build?" General Park asked. "With proper resources, 10,000 in 6 months, 50,000 in a year." General Park smiled grimly. "Begin production immediately." The 30 cycles passed like water through open fingers. The Council received no response from Earth, no negotiations, no compromises, no fear. On the final day, Ambassador made one last attempt. He recorded a personal message to Director. "I am not speaking as an ambassador now," said to the camera. "I am speaking as someone who has studied your species. I have read your history. I know you are capable of great violence, but I also know you are capable of great wisdom. Please, come to the summit, talk with us. We can find a solution that does not involve war." He sent the message and waited. 3 hours later, he received a response. It was from Admiral. The message was short. "We tried talking. You gave us rules we did not ask for. You gave us borders we did not accept. You gave us a place in a system we never wanted to join. Now you give us ultimatums. We are done talking." That was all. Fleet Commander stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the largest fleet he had ever commanded. 2,000 warships filled space around him. Ships from 200 different species. Every type of vessel the Council had. Battleships, carriers, destroyers, support craft. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. "They must negotiate now," said to his officers. "No species can stand against this fleet, not even the humans." His second-in-command had stopped arguing weeks ago. He simply nodded. "Set course for," ordered. "We will force them to talk, even if we must occupy their colonies to do it." The fleet moved as one, a massive wave of power crossing space. It would take them 3 days to reach. Planned to use that time to prepare surrender terms. He wanted to be generous. He wanted the humans to save face. He was still a good person at heart. He did not want to humiliate them. On Earth, Director watched the Council fleet depart from their blockade positions. Every ship was heading to humanity's nearest colony. They are going to, Admiral confirmed, 2,000 ships. And how many people live in? Asked, though he already knew the answer. None, sir. We evacuated everyone last week. Nodded. Good. Initiate the next phase. Across all human colonies, people packed their essentials and boarded transport ships. Entire cities emptied in hours. Orbital stations went dark. Mining operations shut down and vanished. By the time the Council fleet arrived anywhere, they would find nothing. Commander Sora received her orders with excitement. Finally, she said, we stop running, we stop hiding. Time to show them what we can really do. She briefed her pilots personally. The Council thinks we are weak because we have fewer ships. They think numbers win wars. They are wrong. Quality wins wars. Surprise wins wars. Fighting dirty wins wars. The pilots laughed. They were ready. Our job is simple, Sora continued. We watch them. We learn their patterns. And when they are confused and spread out, we hit them, not to destroy them, just to hurt them, just to teach them that we are not afraid. On his flagship, Fleet Commander felt confident. His fleet had traveled for 3 days without incident. No human ships had challenged them. No resistance had appeared. They are smart, he told his officers. They know they cannot win, so they do not try. When we arrive at, they will be ready to talk. But when they arrived at, they found something else entirely. The system was empty. Every station was dark. Every colony was abandoned. Not a single human remained. Where did they go? Demanded. Scan the entire system. His sensors swept across planets, moons, asteroid fields. Nothing. The humans had vanished completely. Sir, we are detecting automated platforms throughout the system. Hundreds of them. What kind of platforms? Before anyone could answer, the platforms activated. They did not use traditional weapons. No energy beams. No missiles. Instead, they launched kinetic harpoons that moved faster than the Council's point defense systems could track. They created gravity wells that pulled ships off course. They detonated electromagnetic pulse mines that shut down shield generators. The Council fleet scrambled to respond, but they had never trained against such weapons. Their tactics, perfected over thousands of years against conventional threats, were useless. 3 ships took critical damage in the first minute. 7 more lost power. Dozens reported shield failures. Return fire, ordered. But there was nothing to return fire at. The platforms were small, scattered, and kept moving. Destroying one made no difference. There were always more. Then the human ships appeared. They did not attack directly. They watched from the edge of the system, silent observers, but their presence made everything worse. The Council fleet had to watch the platforms and watch for a human attack at the same time. It was chaos. Admiral broadcast from Earth, her message reaching every Council ship. You wanted a response. Here it is. Leave our space. Never return. There will be no negotiations. The transmission ended. His flagship took a kinetic harpoon through its port side. The impact shook the entire ship. Alarms blared. Officers shouted reports. Retreat, finally ordered. Get us out of this system. The Council fleet in disorder, leaving behind 14 damaged ships that could not jump. The humans did not pursue them. They did not need to. The message was clear. This is our space. You are not welcome here. Back in the Council chamber, when news of the defeat arrived, absolute chaos erupted. Delegates screamed at each other. Some demanded total war. Others called for immediate peace. Ambassador resigned that same day. He could not serve a council that had become so weak. And on Earth, humanity returned to doing what it did best, expanding, building, and ignoring every message the Council sent. 3 weeks after the disaster the Galactic Council was a very different place. Fleet commander had been removed from command and exiled to a remote outpost. Ambassador's replacement, a younger diplomat named Orr, was trying desperately to restore order. But order was hard to find when 14 species had withdrawn their representatives from the council, when trade networks were collapsing, when rumors spread that humanity had defeated the council's greatest fleet with ease. Or stood before the assembly, trying to project calm he did not feel. "We must respond with strength," he told the gathered delegates. "The humans humiliated us. If we do nothing, the council will lose all authority." "What do you suggest?" Anne asked wearily. "We sent 2,000 ships, they failed." "We send more. We send everything, every ship, every weapon. We crush them completely." A murmur ran through the chamber. Total war. It had not been spoken of in 3,000 years. "That would kill millions," said a delegate from the peaceful worlds. "Humans and others. Is that what we have become?" Orr's expression hardened. They chose defiance. They must face the consequences. Far from the council's debates, Captain sat in the command chair of the Silent Blade, humanity's first true stealth carrier. The ship was massive but nearly invisible to sensors. New materials covered its hull. New engines produced no heat signature. It could hide in plain sight. Around his ship, empty space waited, or at least it looked empty. "Confirm positions," ordered quietly. His tactical officer checked the displays. "All ships report ready. We have 47 vessels in concealment positions throughout the system." Nodded. The council would be returning too soon. Their pride demanded it. They would come with more ships this time, expecting another confrontation. They would find something worse, a trap. On Earth, in the war room deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral watched multiple displays showing human fleet positions. Ships were scattered across 30 systems. Some were visible, conducting normal operations. Others were hidden, waiting. "The Council is mobilizing," General Park reported. "Intelligence suggests they are gathering a fleet of 5,000 ships." Director whistled softly. "Half their entire navy. They are truly committed." "Should we evacuate more colonies?" asked. Shook his head. "No, we run no more. We have shown them we can disappear. Now we show them we can fight." He pulled up a tactical map. "They will come to again. It is their pride. They need to claim victory where they suffered defeat. Is already in position." "Yes, sir. 47 ships waiting in stealth mode." "Good. When they arrive, we hit them hard. But not to destroy. We want them afraid, not angry enough to glass our colonies from orbit." Understood. This was not about winning a war. It was about making the council realize they could not win a war. There was a difference. On Luna Station, Commander Sara was briefing her pilots for real combat for the first time. The training was over. "You know your roles," she told them. "You jump in, hit your targets, jump out. No heroics, no unnecessary risks. We hurt them and we leave. Understood?" 200 pilots responded in unison. "Yes, Commander." Sara looked at their young faces and felt a moment of doubt. Most of them had never seen combat. They were about to face the galaxy's most experienced military force. But then she remembered their training. They were better than any council pilot. Faster, smarter, more creative. They would be fine. "Good hunting," she said. The council fleet assembled at the edge of council space. 5,000 ships, more than had been gathered in one place for 1,000 years. The new fleet commander surveyed his forces with satisfaction. "This time there will be no mistakes," he announced to his senior staff. "We will arrive in force. We will secure the system. We will establish permanent occupation. The humans will surrender or they will be destroyed." Was younger than more aggressive. He had argued for military action from the beginning. Now he had his chance. "All ships prepare to jump to," he ordered. 5,000 ships vanished from normal space. On the Silent Blade, Captain watched his sensors. Jump signatures detected, Multiple contacts, very multiple contacts. How many? His tactical officer asked. Sensors are still counting, more than 4,000, maybe 5. Smiled coldly. Good, the more they bring, the worse their defeat will look. The Council fleet emerged from their jump in perfect formation. Massive battleships at the center, carriers protecting the flanks, destroyers screening the edges. It was textbook military deployment. Beautiful to see. And completely predictable. System appears empty, sensor officer reported. No human ships detected. Scan for their platforms, ordered. We will not be surprised again. Sensors swept the system. They found the automated platforms easily this time. The Council had prepared countermeasures. Specialized ships moved forward, ready to destroy the platforms before they could activate. What they did not find were the 47 human ships hiding in the asteroid field, their stealth systems making them invisible. Wait for it, whispered to his crew. Let them get comfortable. The Council fleet began to spread out, moving to surround the automated platforms. Their formation opened up, ships moving into attack positions. Now said calmly. 47 human ships appeared simultaneously, emerging from stealth in positions the Council fleet had not expected. Behind them, among them, above and below them. But they did not attack with traditional weapons. Scientist drones launched by the thousands. Small, fast, intelligent machines that scattered through the Council fleet like insects. They did not target weapons or engines. They targeted sensor arrays, communication systems, command and control networks. Within 60 seconds, the Council fleet was blind and deaf. Ships tried to respond, but their targeting computers could not lock onto the drones. The small machines moved too fast, changed direction too quickly, learned and adapted in real time. What is happening? Shouted as his displays went dark one by one. Report. But no one could report. The communication networks were down. Then the human combat pilots arrived. Commander Sora led the first wave personally. 200 small, fast attack ships jumped into the chaos. They did not engage the battleships. Instead, they targeted the support vessels, supply ships, repair craft, medical frigates. They used weapons the Council barely understood. Kinetic penetrators that ignored shields, gravity disruptors that pulled ships out of formation, electromagnetic pulse weapons that shut down systems without destroying the ships. It was surgical, precise, terrifying. Break formation. Engage the enemy, ordered, but only the ships near his flagship could hear him. Those ships that did hear tried to respond. They fired on the human vessels with everything they had. Energy beams lit up space. Missiles streaked across the void. And the human ships danced between them all. Sora jinked her fighter left, then right, then dropped in a way no Council pilot would think possible. A missile passed so close to her canopy she could see its guidance fins. She laughed. Too slow, she shouted, even though no one could hear her. She lined up on a Council supply ship and fired a single kinetic round. It punched through the ship's cargo bay, rupturing fuel cells. The ship did not explode. It just went dark, drifting. That was the point. Humanity did not want to kill. They wanted to disable, to frighten, to prove a point. Admiral watched the battle from Earth through real-time feeds from sensors. She saw the Council fleet in chaos. She saw their perfect formations falling apart. She saw their ships drifting, powerless. Begin the broadcast, she ordered. A message transmitted across all frequencies, in every Council language. You wanted a response, here it is. Leave our space, never return. There will be no negotiations. The same message as before, but this time the Council was in no position to ignore it. His flagship, isolated and surrounded by dead ships, finally understood. The humans were not trying to defeat the Council fleet. They were humiliating it. 5,000 ships had come to crush humanity. Now hundreds of them drifted powerless in space. Their crews were alive but helpless. Their weapons were intact but useless. The humans could have destroyed them all, but they chose not to. That was somehow worse. "Retreat," ordered, his voice hollow. "All ships that can jump, retreat immediately. We will recover the disabled vessels later." The Council fleet fled. Nearly a quarter of their ships had to be abandoned, their crews evacuated to functional vessels. The retreat was chaotic and shameful. The human ships did not pursue, they simply watched them go. When the last Council ship jumped away, allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. "Send recovery teams for those platforms. Bring everything home." Back in the Council chamber when the reports came in, there was no shouting this time. No debates, just stunned silence. And stood slowly, his ancient body trembling slightly. "We have learned nothing in 10,000 years, he said quietly. "We believed our age gave us wisdom. We believed our numbers gave us strength. We believed the galaxy belonged to us by right." He looked around the chamber at the shocked faces. "The humans have shown us the truth. We are old, yes, but we are also weak. We have forgotten how to adapt. We have forgotten that power must be earned, not assumed." "What do we do?" Or asked desperately. "We stop," and said. "We stop attacking. We stop demanding. We stop pretending we control everything. And perhaps, if we are very fortunate, the humans will eventually agree to speak with us again." On Earth, Director allowed himself a rare smile. "They will return," he said to Admiral, "not with ships, not with threats. They will come with words, with bargaining, with respect." "And will we listen?" asked. Smile faded. "Eventually, but not yet. Let them learn what it means to have no control. Let them understand that we truly do not need them. Then, maybe then, we can build something better than what they had." Across the galaxy, species watched the news. The Council had been defeated, not once but twice, and the humans had barely used their full strength. 14 species had already withdrawn from the Council. Now 20 more began debating whether they should do the same. The galaxy was changing, and humanity had changed it. 3 months had passed since the Second Battle of. The galaxy looked very different now. The Galactic Council chamber was half empty. 42 species had withdrawn their representatives completely. Another 100 sent only junior diplomats, showing their lack of faith in the Council's authority. The great hall that once echoed with the voices of 400 civilizations now felt hollow and cold. And sat in his seat, watching the sparse assembly with tired eyes. He had lived for 600 years and served on the Council for 400 of them. He had never imagined it would end like this. "We must address the trade situation," or was saying, trying to maintain some sense of normalcy. "Without Council oversight, we are seeing unauthorized routes opening. Pirates are becoming bolder. There is chaos." "Is it chaos?" asked Delegate Quinn, the scholar who had questioned the Council months ago. "Or is it simply freedom? Species are trading directly with each other without waiting for approval. Is that really so terrible?" "It undermines everything we built," or insisted. "Perhaps what we built needed to be undermined," Quinn replied calmly. On Earth, Director sat in a meeting with representatives from several species that had contacted humanity directly. They wanted to establish relationships outside the Council's framework. They wanted what the humans had found: independence. "We can offer trade agreements," explained to the alien representatives. "We can share some technologies, but we will not try to control you. We will not tell you what to do." A representative from the mining worlds, a species called the, clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. "Why help us? What do you gain?" "Partners," said simply. "Not subjects, not vassals. Partners who choose to work with us freely. That is worth more than forced obedience." The representatives looked at each other. This was new thinking. The Council had always operated on hierarchy and obligation. Humanity was offering something different. "We accept," the representative said. Let us build something new together. Captain returned to Earth after 8 months of deep space exploration. His ship, the Defiant Dawn, had traveled farther than any human vessel before. What he found made the Council's old maps look like children's drawings. "There are species out here the Council never even knew existed," reported to Admiral. 12 different civilizations, all thriving beyond Council space. They knew about the Council but chose to avoid it. "Why avoid it?" asked. "Same reasons we did. Too many rules, too much bureaucracy, too little freedom." Pulled up star charts on the display. "They are interested in meeting us. They heard what we did to the Council fleet. They want to know if the stories are true." "And what did you tell them?" Smiled. "I told them the truth, that we do not ask for permission, that we take what we need, that we respect those who respect us and we ignore those who try to control us." "How did they respond?" "They want to trade, they want to share knowledge, but they want nothing to do with the Council." Sound familiar? Laughed. "It does indeed." In her laboratory on Mars, Engineer was already working on the next generation of jump drives. The quantum displacement drive had won them freedom of movement. Now she wanted to push even further. "What if we could jump across the entire galaxy in a single leap?" she asked her team. "What if distance became meaningless?" Her lead assistant looked worried. The Council would never accept such technology. They would see it as a threat. "The Council does not get to decide what we develop," said firmly. "That is the whole point of what we have been fighting for. We research what we want. We build what we want. If others do not like it, that is their problem." She was right, of course. The Council had kept certain technologies restricted for thousands of years, claiming they were too dangerous. But without enforcement capability, those restrictions meant nothing. Several other species had already started developing their own versions of the quantum drive based on theoretical papers human scientists had published. The Council had protested. Everyone ignored them. On Luna Station, Commander Sora watched her pilots conduct training exercises and felt proud. Her 200 pilots had become heroes after the battles. Now she was training 2,000 more. "Why so many?" her second officer asked. "We won, the fighting is over." "Maybe," Sora said, "but we need to be ready in case it is not. And more importantly, we need to be strong enough that no one ever thinks about starting it again." She pulled up strategic assessments. "The Council is fracturing. That creates instability. Instability creates opportunity for aggression. We need to be prepared." But the officer was right about one thing. The major fighting was over. The Council had no will to continue. They had tried threats. They had tried blockades. They had tried military force. Nothing worked. Humanity had simply refused to care. Trader had expanded his operations significantly. The Lucky Fortune now commanded a small fleet of 6 merchant ships. He ran routes between human colonies, new independent species, and even some Council worlds that were willing to trade quietly. "Business has never been better," he told his crew. "The old trade monopolies are breaking down. Anyone can trade with anyone now. No permissions needed, no fees to pay." His ships carried human-manufactured goods, alien technologies, rare minerals, and exotic foods from a dozen different worlds. The free market was thriving in ways the controlled Council economy never had. "Captain, we are being hailed by a Council customs vessel," his communications officer reported during one run. Sighed. Some Council enforcement still tried to maintain the old ways. "What do they want?" "They say we need a permit to carry those goods through this sector." "Tell them we do not recognize their authority anymore. Then jump us out of here." The Lucky Fortune vanished before the customs vessel could respond. Back in the Council chamber, and called for a vote on a proposal he never thought he would make. "We should officially recognize humanity's independence from Council authority," he announced. "We should acknowledge that they are outside our jurisdiction and will not be subject to our laws. The chamber erupted in protest. That is surrender, or shouted. If we do that, every species will demand the same. Perhaps they should, and replied quietly. Perhaps we have been claiming authority we had no right to claim. Perhaps it is time to rebuild the council as something new, not rulers but a forum, not controllers but coordinators. You would destroy everything our ancestors built, another delegate accused. Our ancestors built a cage, and said, his voice gaining strength. A beautiful cage, yes, but still a cage. The humans showed us the bars. Now we must decide, do we try to repair the cage or do we open the door? The vote was close, very close, but it passed. The Galactic Council officially recognized that humanity was not subject to their authority. They sent a message to Earth informing them of this decision. Director read the message and shrugged. We never needed their recognition, but I suppose it is nice they finally understand reality. Should we respond? Admiral asked. Not yet. Let them wait. Let them wonder. Eventually they will learn to approach us with respect instead of demands. But knew that eventually was not far away. 2 weeks after the Council's vote, a small ship requested permission to land on Earth. It carried only one passenger. No guards, no diplomats, just one individual. It was the former Council ambassador. He was not representing the Council anymore. He had resigned, but he still wanted to speak with humanity's leaders. This time, as a private citizen asking for a favor, not a representative making demands. Director considered refusing the meeting, but something about's message seemed genuine, humble even. Let him come, decided. They met in a simple office in Geneva, not the grand government buildings where such meetings usually happened. Stood before, his crystalline body dim with uncertainty. Thank you for seeing me, said quietly. I know I have no right to ask. You are correct, replied, but I am curious why you are here. I want to apologize, not on behalf of the Council. That would be meaningless, but personally. I treated your species as children who needed guidance. I see now that I was the child. You understood things I did not. Studied the alien carefully. This was unexpected. What do you want from us? Nothing, said. I am not here to negotiate. I am not here to ask for favors. I am simply here to say that some of us are trying to change. The Council is reforming. Slowly, painfully, but we are trying. We are learning to let go of control. Why tell me this? Because I hope that someday, when we have truly changed, humanity might be willing to talk with us again, not as subjects to rulers, but as equals. Sat back in his chair thinking. He looked at and saw something he had not seen before: honesty, humility, growth. I will think about it, said finally. His glow brightened slightly, the color of hope. That is all I can ask, thank you. After left, Admiral asked what he would decide. Eventually, we will talk with them, admitted. But not yet. Not until they truly understand that we do not need them. Not until they approach us as partners, not as authorities. How long will that take? Years, probably. Maybe decades, but we can wait. We have all the time in the world. Across the galaxy, the changes continued. More species left the Council. New trade routes opened daily. Technologies once restricted became common. The rigid order of 10,000 years was dissolving into something more chaotic, more free, more alive. And at the center of it all was humanity, the species that had said no, the species that had rejected all diplomacy when diplomacy meant submission, the species that had shown the galaxy what freedom looked like. On Earth, in a small apartment in Seoul, a young woman named watched the news broadcasts showing humanity's ships traveling to distant stars. She was 17, too young to remember when Earth had been alone in the universe. For her, alien species and space travel were normal. Do you think we will explore all of it? She asked her grandfather, who remembered the first contact with Council species. Yes, the old man said with confidence. We will explore it all. We will meet new species. We will build new things. We will make mistakes and learn from them. That is what humans do. Will the council try to stop us again? The old man smiled. No, they learned their lesson. They learned that we do not ask for permission. We take what we want. We respect those who respect us. We ignore those who try to control us. Is that a good way to live? For us, yes, we are human. We do not follow, we lead. We do not obey, we choose. That is who we are. Thought about that and nodded. She looked up at the stars visible through the window and imagined all the places she might go someday, all the things she might discover. The galaxy was open now, truly open, not controlled by ancient councils with ancient rules, but free for anyone brave enough to reach for it. And humanity, the species that had rejected all diplomacy when diplomacy meant chains, had made it possible. The age of the Galactic Council was not completely over. It still existed, smaller and humbler than before, but it no longer ruled. It served. It coordinated. It helped. The age of free species had begun. And it had begun because one species had the courage to say no. That was enough.